Think back to when you were 7 years old. Do you remember how long a summer vacation used to feel? It felt like an eternity. A single afternoon was an entire lifetime of exploration, and the space between your birthdays felt like a cosmic distance. But then, something changed. You grew up, and suddenly the years stopped walking. They began to run. You blink, and another January turns into December. You look at the calendar, puzzled, wondering how 3 years managed to vanish into the thin air of routine. Society tells you that this is just a part of growing older, but what if it's not just a feeling? What if the brain you own today is literally experiencing a different reality of time than the brain you had as a child? What if time is accelerating because your mind is slowing down? In 1897, a French philosopher named Paul Janet proposed a beautifully simple mathematical theory to explain this terrifying acceleration. He argued that we perceive a period of time in proportion to the total length of life we have already lived. Think of it this way. To a 5-year-old child, a single year represents a massive 20% of their entire existence on this planet. That year is a huge, heavy chunk of their reality. But when you reach the age of 50, that exact same year is now just 2% of your life. To a child, a year is a long chapter in an unwritten book. To an adult, it's just a single rapidly turning page in a novel that is already nearing its end. As you collect more days, each new day becomes a smaller fraction of your total story, making it subjectively feel lighter, smaller, faster. But Paul Janet's math only describes the geometry of life. It doesn't explain the physics of the brain. To understand that, we have to look at a groundbreaking study by Dr. Adrian Bejan at Duke University. He suggested that the acceleration of time is actually caused by a physical mismatch between our aging bodies and our neurological processing speed. He called it the neural frame rate. Think of your brain like a high-speed camera. When you are a child, your brain is brand new. The neural pathways are short, highly efficient, and pristine. Sifting through visual information is instantaneous. Because of this, a child's brain captures and processes significantly more images, more frames per second from the world around them. When you record a video at a high frame rate and play it back, what happens? It turns into slow motion. To a child, a single hour contains so much processed visual data that the hour physically feels longer. But as we age, a cruel biological reality takes over. Our neural networks grow larger, more complex, and inevitably begin to degrade. The electrical signals have to travel longer, more tortuous paths to convey information. It takes more physical time for your brain to process what your eyes are seeing. As an adult, your mental frames per second drops. You are capturing fewer images per minute than you used to. And when a video with a low frame rate is played back, it feels fast-forwarded. The clock on the wall isn't ticking faster, it's just that your mind is catching fewer frames of the movie of your life. There is a third, perhaps most terrifying layer to this puzzle. It is what psychologists call the routine paradox, and it deals with how the human brain decides to manufacture memories. When you are young, the world is an endless catalog of firsts. Your first day of school, the first time you saw the ocean, your first heartbreak. Every single experience requires intense conscious attention. Your brain encountering something novel opens a massive new folder in its memory bank and packs it full of rich, vivid details. But as the decades roll by, the novelty evaporates. The firsts are replaced by repeats. You drive the same route to work, sit at the same desk, talk to the same people, and scroll through the same digital feeds. The human brain is an efficiency machine. Its main goal is to conserve energy. When it encounters a highly familiar routine, it goes on autopilot. It tells itself, nothing new is happening here. No need to waste energy recording this. So, it stops saving the data. It deletes the redundant days. This creates a profound psychological illusion. When you're living through a boring routine week, the hours might feel slow and grueling. But when Sunday arrives and you look back at the week, your brain searches its memory bank and finds nothing new. A week that felt long in the moment becomes a microscopic blur in retrospect. When your life becomes entirely predictable, your brain compresses an entire year into a single empty folder. You didn't lose time. Your brain just forgot to press record. If time is moving faster because of math, biology, and routine, the question becomes, are we completely helpless against the clock? The science suggests we are not. We cannot change the mathematics of our age, nor can we stop our neural pathways from growing old, but we can sabotage the routine. The antidote to the acceleration of time is novelty. When you break your habits, when you travel somewhere new, learn a difficult skill, or force yourself out of the comfort of your daily loop, you force your aging brain to wake up. You force it to start recording again. You create new folders, populate them with details, and stretch the subjective length of your life. We are the only species on Earth that stands before the mirror, notices the gray hairs, and actively mourns the speed of existence. We treat the passing of time like a thief in the night, stealing our youth while we sleep. But perhaps time isn't a thief. Perhaps it's a mirror. If the years are flashing by in a blur, it might not be a sign that your life is ending too quickly. It might just be a gentle, quiet warning from your own mind that you have been living the same day for far too long. The next time you ask yourself where the year went, don't look at the calendar. Look at what you did with the days.